Dress often communicates information and misinformation about one's occupation, country of origin, personality, sexual desires, and current mood. Deborah Reese, Covering and Communication, the Symbolism of Dress Among Muslims. Today, I'm going to be presenting to you my paper, which I entitled Faux Hawks, V-necks, and Jeans. What do these nonverbals and others say about your pastor? A rhetorical analysis of the chosen attire of today's pastors. So to begin, I have 3 points for you. What we wear is nonverbal communication. What does this have to do with pastors? And why does this matter? My number 1 point, nonverbals are everywhere, even in your clothes. Even before words are exchanged, height, weight, sex, and approximate age, as well as the way someone is dressed, are observed and form a first impression. Think about it. When you're in Walmart, you see someone, you know, that's a Liberty student. That's an old person. I mean, anything that you think about a person is your first impression. Every subsequent interaction with an individual rests on impressions gathered from past interactions. The first impression, even if it's false, forms the basis of any future interaction. I found that to be very true, and I actually had an example of this today. I had a man come into work, and he was decked out in Virginia Tech hoodies and whatever, all Virginia Tech stuff. And I was like, I hate Virginia Tech. Obviously, I'm a UVA fan. I was born in Charlottesville. It's in my blood. So right away, and I told him, I was like, oh, I hate Virginia Tech. And he was like, well, stinks to be you. And that just like totally projected what our conversation was going to be and how it was for the rest of the time I was there. And of course, we were joking in a laughing manner, but it did automatically, I had an impression of him. And I asked him, and he did go to Tech. So that was one of my impressions that I first thought of. Okay, so the role of dress in nonverbal communication represents artifactual cues with use of makeup, perfume, and eyeglasses. Clothing and other personal artifacts nonverbally communicate information about individuals, the nature of their interpersonal relationships, the overall context in which interpersonal relationships occur. Clothing and makeup are capable of making some meanings in society. They offer signals relating to context, status, individuality. Cigarette cases, pipes, canes, bags, glasses offer some semiotic meaning. So what this is saying is it's not just about your shirt or your jeans or your shorts. It's about how you wear your hair, the type of makeup that you have, how much makeup that you wear. Guys, the type of watch that you have, the earrings that you wear, the type of wallet or purse that you have. Do you have an iPhone? Are you an Apple or PC person? All of these are nonverbal communication, and they directly impact the impression of you on others, whether it's their first impression or their impression of you every day. Everything that we wear is a direct example of who we are. So now that I've kind of shown you how nonverbal communication happens with clothes and different styles that we have, or earrings or hair, I'm going to tie it into how this affects pastors. So my second point is, it's not about my heart, it's about my heart, not my tie. That's what they think is what I have to say. Ronald E. Keller of Church Shabby said, the pastors of today don't want to set a high example than what the unchurched think of themselves. And heaven forbid if they ask something of God's people might honor him. Somewhere along the way down church lane, preachers and music leaders wanted to be sure that nothing separated them from the unsaved and the unchurched, and that included dress. Alas, blue jeans became the cloth of choice, the conversion fabric. Church shabby chic, if you will. So Ronald is right here just saying that pastors are wearing jeans. And what he believes is because it's pastors trying to make the unchurched feel comfortable, which could be true. However, I have some more points about this. Some of today's pastors are a great example of how pastors are dressing today. If you guys know who Matt Chandler is, Stephen Furtick, Mark Driscoll, Francis Chan, all of these are huge pastors. Many of them have come and spoke at Liberty before, if not all of them. And I have a picture on my PowerPoint presentation that shows all of them preaching in jeans. Now, I'm not saying that they always preach in jeans, or it's every once in a while, or whatever, but there is examples of all of them being in jeans, or a V-neck, or a t-shirt, or a jacket, just very laid back, kind of how you would go to a movie or bowling. Phil Cook, in 6 Things My Mom Taught Me About Church, said, "Today, even pastors preach in jeans and t-shirts. But attorneys and other professions have learned that how you dress impacts your attitude and perception." When we stand before others proclaiming, "Come be like me, I try to be like Jesus," what are we saying? Our representation of the kingdom goes far beyond our words, certainly to our appearance. My favorite quote that I found while researching for this paper was from an article entitled "Fashion Model or Pastor. Which one are you?" Modesty is about not drawing attention to oneself. There are certain styles, colors, and patterns that simply draw attention to yourself. Your goal as a pastor is to proclaim Jesus Christ and Him crucified. In other words, your goal is to deflect as much attention off of yourself and on to Him. How are your clothes doing at deflecting? Are people checking out that Ed Hardy tee pattern? Noticing the rips in your jeans? Checking out your new Pumas? Pastors are not to be trendsetters. Just as much as they are not to be blindly following the fashion trends, the pastor's role is shepherd, not fashion leader. Take a modesty check out your wardrobe. I found that quote to be so profound because I didn't even think of it like that. I thought, you know what, pastors today, they're wearing jeans, they're wearing V-necks and tennis shoes, and their messages are still good. However, I have a problem with it. And maybe it's because I grew up and my dad always wore a suit and tie. Or maybe it's because I have a problem with them bringing attention to themselves. Or it could be that it affects their credibility, which is in my next few points. So, why does all this matter? Why does it matter what your pastor wears as long as he's preaching God's word and not heresy? Then who cares? If people are getting saved and baptized, that's awesome. So, who cares what he wears? Well, it does matter. Because how we dress affects our ability to persuade. It affects our credibility among others. And it's the very first impression that we make. It's our attire. Anyone sees you, it's what you're wearing. For instance, this is me. I'm wearing a hoodie. I haven't done my hair. I've been up since 5:30. I look exhausted. Well, excuse me, I've been working since 5:30. My makeup is messed up. I did not prepare myself for this presentation to make a point. I wanted to prove to you that it does matter. This is my nonverbal communication right here. You're probably thinking, what is she doing? What is she wearing? Doesn't she know that she's graded on this? Of course I do. I wanted to show you that what we wear does matter. And just because you're a pastor, that doesn't mean you're exempt from that rule. I think it is crucial for what pastors are wearing today because, as I said, it gives people the perception of your sexual desires, your attitude, and it affects your credibility. Maybe this presentation won't persuade you at all because I was in a hoodie, or maybe it doesn't. Each person is different. So today, I talked about how nonverbal communication, such as your iPod or your watch, your hair, or your shirt, is communication. It's nonverbal, and it is affecting how people think about you. I also proved that pastors are wearing jeans out there, and it is a problem because it is affecting their ability to persuade, and it's giving people a bad impression. And finally, I just talked about why it matters. As again, persuasion, credibility. I mean, how are we supposed to lead people to Christ if people don't even care about what we're saying because they're thinking about that Ed Hardy t-shirt? I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. I wish I could talk a lot more about it because there's so much more and so many more quotes I'd love to fill in. However, the time is running up, and if you'd love to read my paper, I'd love to send it to you because I'm really proud of it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the semester, and I hope to be in class with you all again soon. Thanks!